Hello everyone, this is Ian Schaefer here with UDA Technologies, and we are just about ready to get started with our ConstructionSuite mobile webinar. Today we're going to be focusing on ConstructionSuite on the surface, connectability with various different touchscreen devices and tablets, and we're even going to show off the new ConstructionOnline mobile app today and talk about some of the features that are going to be shared between them. Now, because we're sharing so many screens today, we want to make sure that everybody here is able to hear and see what we're working on. So the first thing that I'd like you guys to do, while we're getting everybody connected to the session itself, is go ahead and raise your hand in the webinar session itself if you can actually hear and see everything that we're working on right now. I believe we're sharing the Surface screen right now, the ConstructionSuite application on the Surface. So again, if you can see it, go ahead and click the little raise hand button. Take a look on that GoToWebinar panel as well, and you should find an area on there marked questions. Before we get started, we're going to pause the webinar for just a couple of moments, and what I'd like you guys to do in those couple of moments are tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you hope to see in the webinar today. Again, we're looking for the type of companies you guys are, like residential or commercial or a blend, what your role is in the company, but again, most importantly, go ahead and tell us what you guys hope to see so we can make sure that we can touch on this. So again, we're going to mute ourselves for just a couple of moments and we'll be right back with you guys. Thanks for your patience. All right, everyone. Looks like we are ready to get started. Once again, my name is Ian Schaefer, and I'm one of the Senior Product Specialists here at UDA Technologies. But today's hosts are actually going to be my colleagues Corey, who's one of our other Senior Product Specialists, and Jordan, again, one of our top sales consultants here at UDA Technologies. And they'll actually be showing you on their own devices how some of these different tools and features and functions work. Again, we're still focusing on ConstructionSuite today and some of the different tools and features that you guys will be able to access both from the field and through your mobile devices. Jordan, who's going to be talking us through the mobile app today, he's actually brought his iPhone in today. So he'll be showing you guys on his iPhone how all of this content is going to be available, accessible, and what you guys are going to be working with. Again, Corey is going to be taking us through ConstructionSuite on the Surface to begin with. And once again, as always, we're going to keep an eye on the questions panel. So if you guys do have any questions or there's any topics that you would like to cover, make sure you go through and take a look at the the GoToWebinar panel. There's an area on there marked questions. If you guys have any questions, send them through. Both Corey and Jordan will try to touch on them as they come up. And we'll also have a Q&A session at the end if you guys have any follow-up questions. For now, though, we're going to go ahead and turn over the show to my colleague Corey, once again, Senior Product Specialist. He'll be taking you guys through ConstructionSuite on the Surface. And guys, don't forget, March 1st, we're going to be starting in with another series of ConstructionOnline webinars. Just going to plug those because we're going to be doing those here shortly. We have some incredible new things to show you guys with those, so don't forget to join us there too. Put it on your calendar, March 1st, 3 o'clock. We're going to start taking you through those too. We'll send out the email announcement shortly. For now, though, Corey looks like he's ready to go. He's chomping at the bit, so we'll turn it over to you now, Corey. Why don't you go ahead and start by talking them through everything that you're going to be working on today and give them an idea of what you think is going to be the most important parts of the Surface.
Okay, hey everybody, this is Corey. Thanks for joining us today. Like Ian said, we're going to be focusing to begin with on the Surface Pro with ConstructionSuite set up on it. A couple of options that really provides for flexibility and mobility, access to really everything that you're used to using within ConstructionSuite back in the office. Now, Ian asked for some information about you guys and what you're really hoping to see in today's webinar. And a number of you have already really asked about what the differences are with the Surface Pro and the tablet mode that we have here versus the regular ConstructionSuite. So that's really the whole point of the first half of our webinar here, is taking a look at those differences and some of the changes and expansions that we've made specifically for tablets. Now, those of you that are familiar with ConstructionSuite will notice a few obvious differences to begin with. Some of these things are actually available within the main installation of ConstructionSuite if you would like to turn them on, but they were designed really originally for tablet access on just smaller machines, especially to be touch screen friendly. So you notice, first of all, on the left-hand side here, that you will have the ability just to collapse down your navigation bar to give you more real estate to work with when you're actually getting into things like, say, your context list or your project list. There's less of your smaller screen taken up by just the basic navigation. Now, you'll also notice as we flip through the different areas here that on the tablet here specifically, the different areas of information have been expanded. So the lines of info for your leads, your contacts, your projects have been expanded just to make it easier, especially if you're using your finger to navigate through here versus maybe a pen like the one that I'll be using today. It's just going to be less clumsy as if you were using the full desktop version. Now, also keep in mind that throughout our system, especially back on the main navigation screen here, you'll be able to quickly just tap your finger on a number of these different filtering options that are, of course, customizable to really narrow it down to the specific information that you need to see. Now, like I mentioned, on the left-hand sidebar, we have collapsed it down, but also the main navigation here at the top has been collapsed. We do have the ability to expand that into this ribbon here, very similar to a lot of the Microsoft products, so you'll be very familiar with this layout. But that is by default collapsed down. If we click back out of here, that's out of your way. So you really only need to see that if there's something you need to jump back into the toolbars for. Now, other than just the basic navigation, I'm going to go ahead and pull up a couple of the files, the main modules or areas throughout our system, to show some of the differences that you can take advantage of here on your Surface. Now, remember, the point of today's webinar isn't for showing you how to use the platform. We're not going to go through and create a new estimate, for instance. We're just going to be showing some of the differences between the tablet and its navigation. Okay, so let's go ahead and just jump into one of our example projects, and we'll pull up some of that info. All right, so here would be our estimate for Lot 185, Baldwin Park. So as you can see, the layout hasn't really changed, but some of the things that you would want to be aware of and to take advantage of within a tablet mode like this is that you'll be able to zoom in to just be able to have a better visibility of all of your information that you have here. It's also very important if you're still working off of a desktop or laptop, depending on your screen size, you may want to adjust this, but duly important for your tablet mode here. Now, one thing that I do want to specifically point out would be through the reporting. So you'll have access again to all the same documents that you're used to here. Actually, instead of going through the wizard, I'm just going to go back and open up an existing document so we don't have to go through and create one. So one of the new features that we've added into the Surface, or by the way, Surface is what we're using. That's certainly what we recommend, one of the best Windows tablets available. But really all of this would apply to most Windows-based newer tablet options. Okay, so now our document is open. Really the main thing that I want to point out here, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the bottom. Look at the bottom of a lot of our documents, there are the options to have your client, your architect, your contractor, whoever it may be, depending on who the document is generated for, sign off on this and give their approval. So specifically here within the tablet mode, you have the ability to go ahead and add in a signature. If it is something that you need to sign off on first, you'll be able to tie that in. So we're going to go ahead and move over to our page layout here. And then you have the sign document option. So sign off, and then typically that will just add in wherever you have selected within the document already. In this case, I'm not sure where the cursor is, so I'm just going to copy that to our clipboard first. Then I'm going to come in here and do it one more time. All right, so that's a little large, so of course you do have the ability to modify pretty much anything you're doing within our system. Of course, you can modify the document formats that we have available and any of the text that's pulled in. Now, once you are done with all of this, it's going to tie into ConstructionOnline as with the rest of our system. So we're going to talk a little bit about the basics of SuiteLink. So any document that you're generating, most of you guys have a combination of ConstructionSuite and ConstructionOnline. So ConstructionOnline, as you know, is more focused on your communication with clients or subs or just different team members, really everybody involved on the job. So once we are done with this document, ready to send, in this case, say to our architect, all we have to do is click Save to ConstructionOnline, choose the format that we'd like to upload, and then share it with them through, in this case, their TeamLink portal. Now, we aren't going to focus too much on ConstructionOnline itself, but a lot of what we're covering right now will link into ConstructionOnline and through that to the mobile app that Jordan will be showing you once we wrap up on this end of things. So keep that in mind. Now, I do want to go ahead and just jump into a schedule as well, just to kind of show how this will look. By the way, guys, while we're waiting on this to come up, remember, if you have any questions or specific areas that you'd like to focus on, feel free to send those questions in. Most of what we've gotten so far is pretty general, just kind of taking a look at what we're doing right now, the navigation throughout this compared to our regular desktop version. Now, before I swap to Jordan, if we do have any more specific questions, we'll go back and answer those. Okay. Now, again, from within the schedule, you'll have the same accessibility options. Now, typically, if you're using both sides of our platform, this is where you would begin your scheduling process for a job. Now, once you have completed your baseline schedule, you would then want to make sure you upload this when you're ready to share it with your subs or maybe with the client on the job. And same as with the document that I showed you, you'll be able to upload that from the Construction Suite tab. And then you can either upload a read-only copy or a full working Gantt chart so that you can keep track of any adjustments or modifications that are needed from out in the field for especially anybody that doesn't have access to Construction Suite. Most of the time, your team within the ConstructionOnline portion of the system is going to be much larger. You may have project managers, site supervisors that will want to manage these schedules that don't necessarily need access to Construction Suite. So that allows you to expand that access and capability for everybody in your team. Okay. All right. Now, most of the rest of this is very similar to what you're used to and what we've already discussed. Every mode is slightly different. As I've mentioned, for instance, within each of the list views here, you do have a little larger screen space just to make this as touch-friendly as possible. But those are the main navigation differences between here and the main installation back on your desktops back in the office. Now, there are a couple of other things I do want to cover before swapping over to the newer mobile app, and mainly with your accessibility options. Now, most of our clients that I recognize in the meeting here have a larger team, not just a single user. That's definitely not the case with all of you. But most of you are probably aware from our webinar last Thursday about our new partnership with Amazon's AWS cloud hosting. So this is a great option if you are getting set up on a cloud server. Your guys out in the field need access to Construction Suite. All they're going to have to do, let me actually minimize all this. I'll have to share or change how my screen is being shared. I just want to show you how that connection works. So with AWS, we'll see right here at the top left our AWS Connect. Really, all you have to do to connect into the server, as long as you have an internet connection, is launch this connection here, plug in your credentials that really carry over throughout the system. Your email address and whatever your password may be that you've used to log into Construction Suite and ConstructionOnline already. That will load you into the server, automatically log you into Construction Suite. It's a very quick and easy, smooth process that we'll actually set up for you. So we do all the management for our AWS servers so that you don't have to worry about a middleman, a third-party cloud host or IT company managing your setup for you. Now, the other option that the Surface or a tablet specifically gives you is if any of you guys have trouble with your internet connection while out in the field and still need access to these tools. So we do, of course, have offline capabilities for Construction Suite. Now, again, typically if you have a team, it is ideal. You do want to have everybody connected back into the main database, so something like the Amazon hosting solves that for you. But if you are offline, you would be able to work off of your own local database, off of the Surface, wherever you are. Now, so we've talked a little bit about SuiteLink, so I'm going to cover just a few more things that will tie into ConstructionOnline, the mobile app, and then we'll go ahead and pass this over to Jordan for an overview of the new unified mobile app and show you what all you guys will have access to from either your iPad, we do have a specific iPad version, or from your iPhone or Android devices. Now, we've taken a look at some of the larger areas that we can upload from Construction Suite to ConstructionOnline, files like the schedule or documents you're generating, or maybe even an overview of the estimate. Some of the more basic info that can automatically load for you would be, there are SuiteLink options here. We can have this automatically sync over any contacts that you're generating. That's actually a two-way sync, so contacts you generate from out in the field or back in ConstructionSuite can automatically sync. Same goes for projects that you create, to-dos, or calendar activities. So a lot of that will carry over to the app. So we'll go ahead and change our screen view here to show off Jordan's iPhone, and then I'll let him take over and go ahead and start showing it. And by the way, I do notice a couple of more questions coming in here that are really more company specific, especially the last one that I noticed here. So feel free to give us a call after the webinar is over. You're welcome to ask for myself or Jordan, and we can go ahead and address those questions, answer anything that we're not able to cover here in the webinar, since this is meant to be more of just a quick overview that's applicable for everybody. Okay, and here would be our contact information if you guys need that. I'll leave that up for just a few seconds, and then I'll swap our screen. Okay, now we're waiting. Now that we're waiting, I'm just looking through a few of the other questions. Now let's see. So I see a question about logging into ConstructionSuite from your iPad specifically. Now, ConstructionSuite is Windows-based. So to actually have a local install, you do need to have a Windows platform like the Surface Pro here, desktop, laptop, or maybe on a Mac laptop or desktop, you could have something like Parallels installed. But AWS would allow you to set that up on a cloud server so you can access it from any device that you're really using. Although the AWS connection currently is still designed for Windows devices, we are in the works to give you more of a mobile or online view through your web browser, which would potentially give you the answer that you're looking for access from your iPad to ConstructionSuite. So keep an eye out for that. I'm sure we'll announce additional progress that we make as it becomes available.
Hey everybody, this is Jordan. I've been here in the background while I've watched Corey navigate through some of the ConstructionSuite options on the Surface. Kind of a high-level overview. I think if you have seen ConstructionSuite before, or if you've poked around on any of our materials on ConstructionSuite, a lot of these screens look familiar. I think that Corey did a great job kind of showing off some of the interesting, I guess you could say, interface pieces that you might have noticed already on a desktop version of ConstructionSuite that seem to have a little bit more punch on a tablet. I know when I was watching Corey kind of navigate through the different filters, he was just tapping right on the button, and it was incredibly responsive, especially those bubbles to filter out. Some people might wonder why those are there and why they look the way that they do. Well, that is the answer there. It makes it a lot easier and more user-friendly to navigate through. I did notice a question here that I wanted to touch on before we swapped over to the iPhone. I know that we have the screen up now and we're looking at the calendar view, but I will get back to that in just a moment. Something that I noticed was, well, a couple of these questions seem to be asking if the Surface Pro Construction Suite is a different app than the actual desktop version, and in fact it actually isn't. The Surface Pro installation is actually a full ConstructionSuite installation. We have just tweaked it a bit to be a little more finger friendly and a little more stylus friendly. So with that being said, now that we've switched over to my phone, I know some of you might have seen a text message that came through there. I made sure that my Do Not Disturb was on, but I guess sometimes Apple likes to ignore what you tell it to do. But with our app, we have full control, and so we're going to show you a little bit of the control that you can expect. So as Corey was mentioning, the calendar activities that you have set up should transition over into ConstructionOnline. All you would have to do is input your ConstructionOnline credentials, make sure your SuiteLink options were turned on, and you'll be good to go.
And by the way, if anybody missed how I got to that was just in ConstructionSuite, the main menu, go to Tools up at the top, ConstructionOnline Settings, and then SuiteLink. Now, I do see a couple of other questions here about which phones we are compatible with or devices. So yes, any iPhone, Android device, and again, I mentioned earlier, we do have specifically an iPad version available as well that, just like we've been discussing with the Surface Pro here, takes advantage of the extra real estate and screen size that you have on a tablet versus your phone.
Speaking of screen real estate, I actually just noticed a question about the iPhone 10. I'm actually using an iPhone 10 right now, so you can see the little bar interface there. It is extremely compatible, and in fact I love the larger screen size, but it is also incredibly user-friendly and fast and responsive on Androids as well. For the Android fans and users out there, I know that is a very loyal bunch as well. So some of these events here have come from ConstructionOnline schedules. Some of these events have come from ConstructionSuite. I'm going to just briefly touch on the way that you would use some of the features in the app. I'm not going to go into too many details. This isn't quite a training session or a tutorial for the app. I really just want to show you what is available with the systems that you might have already, or that will be available if you decided to, take a look into some of our products that could really take your business to the next level. So here we are. We're sitting in the calendar feature. We're sitting just around today. These events are pulled from Corey's ConstructionOnline account that he uses in his demonstrations all the time. So these are actually live events, and I'm going to go ahead and hop back to the home screen. You can tell already that I'm loaded into sort of an all projects overview. As I've jumped back, you'll notice that the app is telling us that we are still not loaded into a specific project. And that's totally fine, because some of the features here will load up specifically into one project, and others will give you kind of an overview of everything that's going on and let you drill down from there. The incredibly useful feature for phones is the ability to hop into, say, your contacts view. Let's say that you needed to get in touch with someone out on, when you were out on the road. You didn't have your Surface Pro, or perhaps you did have your Surface Pro, but you didn't want to pull that out and look up someone's number. I don't want to show off any specific numbers here, but if you were to, say, jump into a contact, you would actually be able to dial them straight from the phone, or send them an email if you had their email address. It's as simple as tapping into it. Again, I don't want to jump into any of Corey's information, so I'm not going to do that, but if you want to try this out yourself, all you have to do is download the mobile app. It's available in both the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store for free, and if you don't have a free ConstructionOnline account, you can set that up right now. Actually, all you have to do is put in your name and your email address, and you're good to go. You can jump right into this and follow right along. So now let's get back a little bit to what I was hoping to show off. So we're going to take a look now. Let's go ahead and hop into a project. Is there a specific project, Corey, that you think would have some stuff that people would want to see?
Eagles Landing's probably the one that's most populated.
Great. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up into the Eagles Landing project, and we're going to take a look at some of the on-the-go access that you have. Let's just say that you needed to hop in and take a look at a PDF file that you had uploaded from ConstructionSuite earlier. Let's just pretend that file that you had signed for the architect, for whatever reason, didn't make it out of your outbox. It happens. But let's just say you needed to hop in and show off that you did actually have that contract. Well, as you can tell, you can do that with a single tap. The app is very smooth. I know you might not be able to see, but the beautiful thing about a mobile interface is that you can zoom right in and take a closer look at what you're actually paying attention to. Now you can, of course, share this and send it to whoever you would want to, and you have a number of different sharing options through your native device. Also, you can take a look at any photos from the job site. This is going to tap again into the native features of whatever device you're using. The interface for our app is very, very smooth because we're tapping into the power of the device itself. As you can tell, I was just kind of scrolling through this album, which, just makes a lot of sense. I think that our app developers are doing a great job when it comes to programming in common sense ideas into the mobile apps. And I think that it really does give you a lot of flexibility while you're out and on the move. Now, before I jump into anything else, Corey, do we have any questions coming in at the moment that seem especially interesting at this time? I know that there are a number of different directions that we can go, but I'd be more than happy to take us in the direction of people who are especially interested in finding out how something works.
Mm-hmm. No specific questions about the app other than compatibility so far. Some of you guys I've sent personal messages here to, since you have some questions that really pertain specifically to your company. But no, I think we can keep going. Let's just go ahead and take a look at an overview of some of the main areas that people would use the app to focus on specifically.
Sure.
So
sure.
a lot of a lot of what Jordan's already gone into is very necessary to have access at your fingertips, regardless of where you are. Some of the things that I typically like to highlight from within your phone, especially for your guys that are on the job site. Normally, if they're going to want to be able to, for instance, track information task information that's happening on the job site each day through the daily logs. Of course, the whole point of ConstructionOnline is to manage communication with your team and your clients. So all the conversation tools, the messaging, and the new quick chat are also available on the app.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to jump into some of the ConstructionOnline specific features. I know you mentioned the daily logs. I'm not actually going to type one out or anything. I don't want to bore anybody with all of that. However, it's pretty simple. You would just jump into the daily logs. You can tell what job you're on from the top of the app on the iPhone. I believe that's the same for the Android. Feel free to check that yourself on your own phone. But it's pretty simple. You just jump in here, tap on post a new entry, pick your log type, and then, send a message in to your heart's content. And the thing about ConstructionOnline is that because it is an online platform, once the message has posted, it's instantly available to everyone else who's on your company account, as long as they have access to the project, of course. Something else you mentioned was the quick chat feature, which is mobile specific. This actually goes from device to device for your contacts here in the phone. You can kind of think of it like this. So the messaging feature, if you've ever used that, is a lot like containing your email. Well, the quick chat is a lot like text messaging on the phone, except that it actually ties directly into the ConstructionOnline app, letting you really keep control of the conversation and really make sure that you don't lose it, if you drop your phone in the water or something, ridiculously unfortunate like that. Of course, if you had a commercial account, you would be able to hop into the correspondence tracking features that we have. For instance, the RFI tracking, submittal, and transmittal features. I am going to pop into transmittals just to see what we have here. You can see it has a really, really nice interface. It makes a lot of sense. Setting up the transmittal, the interface is similar to the other content creation parts of the app. Feel free to jump in and try it out yourself. Again, that's the beauty of the mobile app, is that it's pretty much accessible right there in the palm of your hand.
That's exactly right. All the information that you need when you're not in the office will be at your fingertips. And specifically, like with the transmittal that you mentioned here, all the communication correspondence is going to be available for you here. If some kind of question comes up, you need to send out a quick RFI to your subcontractor, you'll be able to go ahead and type out that question, maybe add in a photo of whatever you're relating that question to that you want to communicate to them, send it out, and manage the correspondence back and forth without having to jump into your computer. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, again, you guys, whoever, of course, has ConstructionOnline, which I believe is most of you, have access to all these tools already, so are probably familiar with most of the capabilities. But another big one that I see as important to have the ability to access on the fly would be change orders. So you would be able to go ahead, out on the job site, notice some unexpected issue on the job, or maybe you're speaking with a client, they might want to add some kind of upgrade to the original plan. You're able to just pull out the app. If you have an idea of what the cost will be, go ahead and add that in, type in some quick notes, and share it with the client for their approval right then and there. Now, we're not going to be able to show you this on the app, but from their portal or from the custom app, they'll be able to go ahead and log in and view that information and, of course, approve that and even sign off on the change order if you have it set up to do so.
That's a really great point. The custom app that we have available now and can set up pretty much on a ridiculous turnaround time looks very similar to this view. It is customizable to the point that whatever features you have turned on for, say, your clients through ClientLink, or your subs or vendors or suppliers through TeamLink, those are the features that they will see when they load into their custom app. It will have your branding across the top, and you can kind of request. You see how there are some the nice orange coloring here, we can actually kind of tweak that and really give it your brand's feel. But you can give them access very, very similar to this app. And they might not be able to create or change settings as much as your employees or your company users would be able to do. But they will be able to access their information on the go. It really does add a very professional and 21st century flair to your company, and really does make a difference in your presentation and handling of information. It makes it a lot easier to access, I can tell you that.
Especially with clients, that branded view just gives your company a great look and feel when the presentation that you give to them, especially for new clients that you're dealing with for the first time. Now, of course, it's very important for your subs to have a customizable view and have the ability to restrict exactly what they should have access to, just the jobs that they're working on with you and just the sections of the project that they need to see. So Jordan has a very good point. That app does allow you to narrow it down to just what they need access to. Okay. Now, again, we're not going to be diving into to everything within the app here. If there are any specific questions that you guys still have, I've been doing my best to answer them as they come up here on our question chat. But we'll certainly leave the meeting running, or the webinar running, for a little while longer here if you guys need to send any additional questions. Now, as Ian mentioned back in his intro at the start of our session here, we are going to be starting a new webinar series specifically for ConstructionOnline. So we're going to be diving into a lot more detail on this side of the system, what we're looking at here with the mobile app, specifically how that ties into the main ConstructionOnline interface. So that will be starting May 1st. Again, as all our webinars are, that'll be at 3 o'clock Central Time. So everybody feel free to sign up for those. They'll be free just like they always are. And we look forward to seeing you all then. Again, we'll leave the webinar running here for a little while. Jordan, is there anything else that you were hoping to cover before we wrap up here, though?
I do want to point out that a lot of the information that is available in this app can come directly from the ConstructionSuite application. Like Corey was pointing out before he transitioned over, just to make sure if anybody missed that, the actual SuiteLink interface, and are you pulling it up right now? That'd be pretty fantastic. The SuiteLink interface can actually automate a lot of this transfer. So if you have your contacts database set up in ConstructionSuite, for instance, and you wanted to, say, make a quick call while you were hopping into your truck to head out to a job site, don't text and drive. Be really careful. Try and handle your business hands-free as much as possible. So not promoting unsafe driving or anything like that. But let's be real. Sometimes business needs to happen on the go. You can absolutely do that. You don't have to take a piece of paper and scribble things down anymore. This can all work in the background while you're taking care of more important activities. All right, so as Corey was saying, we're shifting over into Q&A mode. Seriously, sign up for the ConstructionOnline webinars coming up. I think they're starting at the end of February, beginning of March. I don't exactly... Corey, did you say it was March the 1st?
That's right, March 1st. I see a question here asking if it was May or March. I may have misspoken, but yes, it will be March 1st.
That's right. Mark it on your calendars. Mark it on your ConstructionSuite calendar, and then send it up to your ConstructionOnline account. That way you can see exactly when it's going to be. We'll leave the webinar up. Definitely send in your questions at this time. We'd be happy to answer them. If you think we missed anything, we want to point your attention to it. If it's something that we can handle one-on-one, it might be specific just to your company, we'd love to have that conversation as well. Corey and I are more than happy to hop on the phone with you. Just give us a call.
Yep, that's exactly right. We still do have a little bit of time here. Again, with this webinar not being as laser focused about specific features, we are not really diving into too much, but happy to answer any questions you guys may have. Not in too much detail, but if there is anything about the navigation within the Surface Pro that I've swapped back over to, or about what capabilities from ConstructionOnline are available in the new Unified app, just let us know. Okay, we do have a new question here asking about the use of the mobile application without a ConstructionOnline account. The Unified app is actually designed specifically for paid memberships within ConstructionOnline. We do have other apps called our on-site apps that are typically used by your maybe subs or TeamLink members if you don't have the custom branded app. And there are certain things that you can access from the app without a pro account, but most of that is specific to Construction Online, the additional membership on top of Construction Suite. So a lot of that wouldn't be available if you just have access to Construction Suite at this point. So if you're interested in learning more about Construction Online as a whole, if you're not currently a member, feel free to give us a call. We'll be happy to show you around.